but still not duplicate. It's only on the leg.
Hey, you can use your own picture, snap, and send to you.
Hello, everybody. What's up, people?
We're not snap you,
And you're listening to Elegbete.
Jesus Christ.
Stay tuned. Elegbete TV Radio.
Is this your spec?
Listen.
Oh, Lord have mercy. This is dead. This is blinding. It's blinding me. All right, good morning and welcome to the Sports Buffet on Elegbete TV Radio. My name is Daffy Matthew. So you love to come in the Elegbete One Sports. I'm in the building with Emmanuel Sebastian. That reminds you that today is Tuesday, and on Tuesday we'll take it a many notch higher. So Emmanuel Sebastian will give us the thrill, and I try to meet up with his demand as the analyst on duty. And for those of you on Instagram and YouTube, we would be excited to also have you bouncing around thoughts and ideas to make sure we get everything that is needed and required on the show. Nobody will be left behind. Everybody's contribution is important, and there's a whole lot to talk about. As the Champions League, every game is on a cliff edge. Real Madrid know that they are not completely through. One goal in the first 10 minutes by Chelsea might just wake up something. Arsenal have thrown a 2-goal lead out of the bag back to back. So it means it is possible. Talking about throwing 2 goals lead, Liverpool went to Leeds and they are leading them into hell as they beat them 6-1. So many things to talk about. Believe me, on the show today, I'm not sure that this is the day where 1 hour will be too long. Well, there is the talk of Napoli. Okay, we've seen how bad Napoli have played without Victor Osimhen. Now he's back, and then there is high talk of Manchester United willing to pay 100 million for him, and even if they don't get him, they will do everything to make sure no other club in the Premier League gets him. I don't know what that means, but we would get to know all of that. That is how important Victor Osimhen have become. First off, when Napoli wanted him, a lot of people said, oh, no, that's not going to be possible. Nobody will pay that amount of money for Victor Osimhen. It's just Edafe and Omar Katuba making noise, selling rumor. I remember that time. It's just 3 years ago. It's just Edafe and Omar Katuba selling dust to the air. But then it happened again. When I said it's going to be 100 million, the first man who actually mentioned it, we must give credit to him, is John Ogu. He came into the studio one day in 2019 and he said, if there's any player that will break all the record, shatter all the record of a Nigerian player transfer, that player is Victor Osimhen. And everybody felt like the man was talking balderdash. Well, I wish our producer, I'm sure when he's producing this, he will put John Ogu's comment again up there for everybody to see. And we've seen that happen. But then again, the man is born, is a child of destiny, as people will say, is born to break records, and there is another record about to be shattered. And he's going to be among the very few players in the world who's been transferred for 100 million plus. And probably not too many Africans can boast of that record. Do we have any African player that is 100 million?
No.
Okay. Victor Osimhen is about to enter a league of its own as it is right now, shattering George Weah's record of goal scoring, shattering everybody's record, leading Napoli to winning the title. They're 3 wins away from becoming champions of Italy, or 2 wins and a draw actually, away from becoming champions of Italy. And the title race in Italy is done and dusted, but how Lazio and Roma have snuck up on everybody, they are now 2nd and 3rd, is something that is very, very amazing. A whole lot to talk about from the people out there and from Emmanuel Sebastian here. But let's talk about a few transfer rumors. Declan Rice to Arsenal is beginning to look like a foregone conclusion until Newcastle just decided to show interest as we see the man who is responsible for grooming Declan Rice, Rio Ferdinand, and a host of other players that have passed through that West Ham Academy came out the other day on Sky Sports and talked about how the fact that Declan Rice is better than Frank Lampard and every other player that have played, Joko and the rest of them, and then all of a sudden other clubs are showing interest now. West Ham and England midfielder Declan Rice would prefer a summer move to Arsenal, with Newcastle also interested in the 24-year-old. Okay, that's how Luka Modric preferred a move to Arsenal, and he didn't come to Arsenal. So when I start hearing all these things on social media or in the media, I really don't take it serious until a deal is signed and the player is reeled in. So where they prefer to go to, it's not important compared to where they eventually signed for. Rice is among several English options, including Leicester City midfielder James Maddison, 26, and Brentford forward Ivan Toney, 27, being considered by the Magpies as they target the arrival of 4 early players this summer. Even the coach have come out to say the next set of signing are not going to be regular players. In other words, he's used his regular players and they hit their limit. Now he wants to go for extraordinary players, and he wants to go for players that will compete in the Champions League and do well. You don't want players that will bottle it up like Arsenal player. Bayern Munich's 20-year-old Netherlands midfielder Ryan Gravenberch, okay, has joined Liverpool. Has told Liverpool he is open to a summer move to Anfield. Why would you not be open to it when you see how the Gapco is doing well? Everybody said he was going to fail. He was not going to do well. As far as I'm concerned, in my own opinion, his January transfer move to Liverpool have been a success. People said he moved to the wrong club. I don't see it that way. He's flourishing. He's under a coach that gives him playing time. That's the most important thing any football player needs, and he's getting that playing time. So for me, it's fantastic already. Barcelona are confident of signing Manchester City's German midfielder Ike Gundogan, who is 32 years of age on a free transfer, wants to deal with the Premier League side ends this summer. Well, I think that's going to happen. Tottenham are set to rival Chelsea for former Barcelona midfield manager Luis Enrique. Luis Enrique, it will be well beside you to choose Tottenham over Chelsea unless Chelsea doesn't want you, and then you go to Spurs just to go and get fired so that you can get paid some big money. For former Spurs boss Antonio Conte could be set to join AS Roma next season with their current manager Jose Mourinho to take over French side Paris Saint-Germain. I also think that Jose Mourinho, since Zidane doesn't want to take that job, Jose Mourinho should go take that club. He's a guy that can knock them into shape. He's a guy that will work.
What is his plan? What is Zidane's plan? We don't know.
The national team.
Okay.
It's a national team, okay. Manchester United or Manchester City.
Okay, because it's been quiet all this while, so
yeah,
we don't know what's cooking.
I think Manchester City, Manchester United, or the French national team. Unfortunately, they betrayed him. They gave him the award and then they betrayed him last minute. But I think if he wants to go to another team, it's going to be Manchester City. He's hoping that Pep Guardiola wins the Champions League and then decide, okay, he wants to go on a sabbatical, and then he decides to step aside. And once that happens, he's the only person, capable of taking the Manchester City side, because that City team, the standard, forget whether they've won the Champions League or not, the standard that Pep Guardiola have set, God forbid that Man City tries to even put an interim English coach in that team. The destruction, they might go on relegation. Well, let's push it further. Aston Villa, Everton, and West Ham are all interested in Inter Milan 28-year-old Argentine forward Joaquin Carragher. Okay, Chelsea will try to sell Conor Gallagher this summer, with a number of Premier League and European clubs interested in the England midfielder who's 23. Chelsea are just evil. No wonder their results are not going well. They are giving this player to Crystal Palace and let him stay another long term. I'm not sure Patrick Vieira would have been sacked. They caused this whole sacking of Patrick Vieira and brought that old man out of retirement, and now they want to sell him. It's not wickedness. Well, you wear what you sow, whatever it is. So Arsenal have offered Reece Nelson, 23, a new contract, but there remains doubt over his long-term future with Aston Villa, Fulham, West Ham, and Brighton among the teams interested in signing the English winger. I am not against Arsenal giving him a new contract. I'm not against it. But I know that once he signs that contract, Arsenal should act fast and sell him, because he doesn't have a playing space. And the age where he is right now is 23. He should be playing regularly. If he's not playing regularly, it's a waste of time. There's no such thing as just sitting on the bench and collecting money. West Ham are set to receive a fee, about 1.75 million, from Turkish club Besiktas for DR Congo left back Ato Masuaku, okay, who's 29 years of age. I'm sure you remember that guy, after the obligation to buy clause in his loan agreement was triggered. That's a good one. Aston Villa have set their side on the summer move for Manchester City, England right back Walker 32, who is out of contract in 2024. Right, Chelsea are set to sign 15-year-old Colombian midfielder Candy Pace, who will join the club in 2025 when he's 18 in a deal worth 17.6 million. That's another one player whose career is about to be messed up. Chelsea, young players, they don't go together. And if I look at where they're going forward to right now, the next phase of Chelsea does not look like a place where they will allow young players to try. Well, I might be wrong, but that's the way I see it. Having said that, let's push the conversation a bit. Emmanuel Sebastian, Liverpool, before the Arsenal game, Liverpool won, if I'm not mistaken. They lost? Okay, they lost.
They lost.
And then they played against Arsenal. They drew 2-2, came from 2 goals down to draw. Now they beat Leeds United. Leeds that, seem to be like a thorn in the flesh of a lot of teams. Beat them 6-1 at Elland Road. Are you guys still of the opinion that Trent Alexander-Arnold is not a good player?
Well, good morning to you and good morning to everyone who is listening to us today.
Good morning to you too.
It's good to be back on the show. I don't think people ever said he's a bad player. He was just victimized for his defending. So I don't know if that doesn't necessarily mean he's a bad player. If he's defending.
Every time you lose and you put the blame on the player, it means that he's the weak link of your team. He's a bad player in the team.
Weak link. Well, the talent has always been there. What he does best.
Are you guys okay now with him being on the right full back? Because last week you were tempted to even ask me if I would play him in midfield.
It's Jurgen Klopp's headache. He came out to upload the role again. This guy, yesterday it was like, with the ball, he's there in the midfield. But without the ball, when they defend, I'm tempted to see how this will work without maybe a Konate, without a Henderson covering up for him on that side. I'm
are they all the teams that are doing well defensively? Don't the fullback have people that are covering up for them?
Yeah, it's been even at City, we see what Stones is doing right now. Stones is a defender, but
plays a midfield.
Yeah, plays more like an inverted midfielder as well. Even at Bayern, Tuchel as a press conference came out to say something similar, doing something similar with Cancelo, another player who can do a similar job.
And Zinchenko at Arsenal.
Zinchenko at Arsenal. So these things have been happening, but for Trent, this is the same club where I think Gareth Southgate tried this with England. Maybe he didn't do well. Klopp wasn't too pleased with it. But Trent now is. Yesterday was. I don't know if you saw that game.
I did.
It was magical.
Even against Arsenal, it was.
Those passes. I think he completed over 100 passes. His highest so far in Premier League this season. And most of them were 4 passes. He had 2 assists on the night. So it was another fantastic day for Trent. Maybe because it's Leeds.
Somebody said something that is beautiful on Instagram. Dailyman has said, just fit him in a role more advanced. Since his weakness is known and his strength are known, use him where he is best. I think I like that. Olumaiti say, bros, the guy play you is good. Okay. And that one is just.
The talent has always been there. I don't know, maybe only Kevin De Bruyne in terms of those kind of passes. I'm not trying to
forward moving passes.
Those forward moving passes, the precision, the way he plays the ball. Yesterday was so magical to see a talent.
So for me, Trent Alexander-Arnold reminds me of Ashley Cole. Now, Ashley Cole is a fantastic defender, but it was one player who knows how to move the Arsenal team forward, support the attack, make life easy for people like Robbie Perez and the rest of them. And I think that's the guy that he is. Unfortunately, he just has somebody in front of him who is standing forward, standing wide forward, right? Doesn't track back, and sometimes that just affects his game. People might not accept this position that I'm taking on Trent Alexander-Arnold, but that's the way I see Trent Alexander-Arnold. But hey, the show is your show now. Let's roll.
Yeah, moving on the show. Welcome again. It's Tuesday, and what we do, we talk Nigerian footballers, Nigerian football. At times we tend to, shift it a bit, but quite a lot happened. Hakimi was the best man on earth in the past couple of days.
I'm not sure.
I didn't see your take on the whole Hakimi situation.
Because to me,
what's your opinion before we get on the show? What do you make of the whole Hakimi situation?
Because to me, I think the position that everybody's taking is a lie. A divorce proceeding does not go that way. It's unless so. When you go to court, I worked in a law firm in a part of my life, and so I know how law is. Law is more about what you're filing. The technicalities can knock you out.
Yep.
But you cannot convince me that a man who earns $1 million every month, right, and after earning it, transfers the money to his mom, you tell me he will not pay divorce fee or alimony or no, it's not. That's not. You see this thing that people are doing. This is just drama. I think at the end of the day, the woman is still going to be the winner. So let me break it down for you to see where it is. The law, there's something called unveiling of the corporate veil, where, for instance, if I run a shell company now, like I put myself as the owner of this company, meanwhile there are directors behind the scene that nobody knows, we should pray that we don't get any problem. The day we get a problem or we go to court, all the directors will come out, right? And that's the same way it is right now. The court will not attack the money in the mother's account. They will attack the money from the point of entry. Okay, so it's not the symptoms, but the virus. They would say, okay, from the point where he's earning the money, the woman is entitled to this. And for how long as he stayed with the woman and all that he has earned, it becomes a debt. Because another thing we need to look at legally, Ashraf Hakimi has never declared bankrupt. So he is not bankrupt.
Yeah.
Which means he's been making money. There is evidence that he's been earning money. All these skits, when these skit makers are done, all these charlatans and clowns are done with whatever they're doing, the law itself will take its state. And then I've seen other people say, come out with things like, oh, the woman will not pay. Come on, that's
But do you think you could have paid more at his wealth be under him, not with his mother or something like that?
I still think that the wealth is under him, and the wealth of Ashraf Hakimi is still under him. We might say that he's put it under trust with his mother, but the wealth is still under him, and the law is going to take its course. That's one thing we need to understand. That's something we need to understand. I'm speaking from a legal standpoint. I'm not going to sit here and talk from a clown and clickbait, bandwagon point of view. I'm talking from a legal standpoint, and I know enough in law to be able to speak this way. And again, let's look at the flip side of the story. So divorce settlement, probably behind closed door, everybody goes their way. That's a very nice one. Another side to this is, since it's gone this dirty, that woman is going to write a book. There are dirty secret of Ashraf Hakimi. There is no human being in this world who is clean as a whistle. Even a whistle is not clean. That's just a phrase. All the blowing of whistle, there's spit going inside and it smells. Put a whistle near your nose, you know it's not clean. So there are dirty secrets of Ashraf Hakimi that will come out eventually. In the book Think Big and Kick Ass by Robert Kiyosaki and Donald Trump. You might not like Donald Trump, but there are some sense in what he says sometimes. And in the page where he was talking about prenup, always sign the prenup, he said something. There's a phrase on that book where he said, divorce is a process whereby the person you swore to defend with your life, right? You defend to defend with your life becomes the person you're ready to snuff their life out. That's a divorce process. So divorce can be neat and it can be very dirty. Yeah. Now, it is Hakimi 1, the wife 0. But it's just the first half of the game. And Arsenal were 2 goals up against West Ham in the first half of the game. They didn't win it. They were 2 goals up in the first half of the game against Liverpool. They didn't win it. And we've seen many of those kind of situations. There is the second half. And also, there could also be a return leg. This does look to me like a 2-legged game or probably a 3-legged game, as the case may be. It is not over yet. People are just celebrating the goals scored in the process of a game that is not done. So until all the divorce proceedings are done, the Western law does not really make it easy for men to just take advantage of women like that. And if Ashraf Hakimi is being celebrated globally, it even puts him in a place. Because right now, what this does is it has exposed the place where his money is. It's like me taking money and putting it in Cayman Island in an account with my children's name. And then I get into a problem. I say, no, I don't get money or all the money are my children's money. You really think that the court will agree to that? The court will not agree now. If I'm owing money, I will pay. Yeah. So if the marriage will be divorced on the grounds that, yes, you claim not to have property right now, but you're not bankrupt. There are source of you earning money. They will not put a value to what the woman have worked with you, the value of what you've been earning, they will break it and say this is what belongs to the woman. Anyhow you can pay it, pay it. If you need to take back money from your mother, do that. If you need to stop sending money from your earnings now, how old is it, to your mom or to any account, start paying back that money to this woman. That's how the case is going to end. I mean, the case has not been like, it's not like it's been kicked out of court.
Yeah.
The divorce case have not ended. It's just first pleading, right? So there's a whole lot. There's a gamut of legal paperwork to go through, and then eventually we'll see who laughs last. The world is just having a fun on themselves. If anybody believe that story making the round, then it shows you how dumb people can be. Anyway, Luigi Ng said, what if Hakimi has directed PSG to transfer his wages directly to his mom bank account? Sometimes we should not be asking this type of question. Who did Paris Saint-Germain
He's the one
employ? I don't understand this thing where you just talk. So when you read that, so I stand for your ear. Who Paris Saint-Germain employs? Who they sign?
You see how
I don't understand.
Some people have come out to say that, okay, maybe when he did that, he was really young because he started making money at a young age. So maybe he can't handle such amount of money. So his mom was like, you see the closeness with his mom.
Then that money is in law. It's called money held up in trust. You're going to break it now. You're going to break that trust. It's not like it's an irrevocable trust. Okay, even if it's an irrevocable trust, somebody is entitled to something, right? Does Hakimi drive a car? Yes. He drives a flashy car. How does he get the car? Is the mother the owner of the car? If you like putting the car in the name of the mother, what are you saying? See, when we talk law, you know the thing I like about law. Law, no, they consider sentiment and emotion. Law, no, they consider skit makers. That's not their business. The law deals with facts of the matter. If they like it, make Hakimi Mama name. They inside the Paris Saint-Germain document saying Hakimi Mama, Mrs. Hakimi, and I decide who they play the ball. Leave law, you see, leave this one. Na Mama the employer be na Mama na they don't write Mrs. Hakimi for the back of it. Just abi. If Mama go soon go play for Paris Saint-Germain female team, she the get women team.
So just for, to put it out there, I mean, there's a rape allegations on Hakimi. So maybe that was one led to the divorce case filed by the woman. So trying to seek all these financial benefits from Hakimi and all that. But I mean, I'm trying to. These things is not new in football. I mean, it's been happening, not just football as well. We've seen other divorce case from.
So somebody just asked a question. He said, Ezekiel, he said, I want to ask that in a situation where a man is requesting for a divorce and still ends up paying, is the law not one-sided? I'm in support that the law will always ensure you pay your debt. Okay, so let's first try and understand that in this whole divorce matter, there are women that have also paid half of their wealth to men in a divorce case. The law is actually not one-sided. First, what triggers the divorce? Is the man the one at fault or the woman the one at fault? If a man is asking for a divorce and let's say the woman has cheated and the woman is earning more than the man, and this divorce have not caused the man emotional damage and problem, that's what divorce considers. The woman is going to pay the man. There are men, there are women, there are men that are earning off the back of their divorces. Okay, so it's just that, let me tell you how it works. When a man beats a woman at home, when there's domestic violence and a woman is the victim, the noise is everywhere. When a man is a victim of domestic violence, men are too ashamed to come out and say it. So they don't come out and say, oh, this has happened. So you may not be hearing cases. If you go online and Google and check for divorce cases where men have been paid divorce settlement, you will see quite a loads of them. Men that have earned settlement off the back of divorce, you would see quite a load of them. But the woman must be earning more than you, and she must be the one responsible for a problem that has caused the divorce. That's when you would earn from it. All right, man, let's get.
All right, moving on the show. I was trying to, think if there's any Nigerian football this has happened to. I mean, one recently came to mind. There's a lady, that's been tagging us, back and forth on this same kind of alimony kind of issue. No, Nigeria, I think the day or so.
Okay, the brand day.
Yeah. So this
I was actually trying to get across to that woman.
Yeah, she's been like.
Well, brand day is my guy.
She's been tagging, posting the child. The day she called for his children and That's by the way. Moving on the show, quite a lot happened. Not just Hakimi, there was Mane and Sane punch. Like he punched Sane from the face.
But did you see that lip?
Yeah, I saw the lip. Like it was really swollen. It was really swollen. But I mean, these things happen this has happened. I don't know how it got out. But at the end of the day, at times these things get out to the media, and the media just feast on it. But Sadio Mane it's not been the best of time at Bayern. I mean, injuries have come and gone. But I mean, off the back of that, their Champions League defeat to Manchester City, and this is happening. So not being a good start for Thomas Tuchel and the likes. But let's start off with the show now. The Champions League second leg of the quarter-final fixtures is today. Victor Osimhen returns from Napoli. He missed the first leg. How big of a boost is this for Napoli? Is it going to be their savior tonight? I mean, Champions League already putting up pictures of him holding the Nigerian flag, a superhero kind of thing with the marks and all that, holding the Nigerian flag as well, posing for the cameras. So maybe we are expecting a superhero Victor Osimhen tonight against AC Milan. Remember, they're playing at home at the Stadio Diego Armando Maradona. What does Napoli have to do to make it through to the semi-finals? Remember, AC Milan defeated them in the league, defeated them in the first leg. So do you think it will play in their minds? And what do you think they have to do to win AC Milan tonight?
Obviously, it will play in their mind. Anybody who's saying that it will not play in their minds does not understand football. It's what played in the minds of Arsenal when they went to Anfield. It will definitely play in their mind. What I think would happen is it's up to them to rise above it. This season, they have overachieved. They've not gotten to the quarterfinals of the UEFA Champions League before. Yeah. They are there now. AC Milan have not been in this stage for the past 10 years. They are there now. AC Milan have a point to prove on their own. They are defending champions of the league.
They're under more pressure.
No, Napoli is under more pressure. They can't defend the league. It's Napoli that is stealing it from them. Let's not forget that AC Milan came from behind and stole the Champions League the league title last season from Napoli's grasp. And now Napoli have come back to say, okay, last season was a mistake. We're not going to let that happen. And they are winning it in emphatic form. Okay, and AC Milan's best way of sticking it to them is we stopped you on your track in the UEFA Champions League, knowing fully well that there's also an Inter Milan on the cards, possible Inter Milan on the card if we get to the semi-final. I think that there is plenty of motivation for Inter Milan, for Napoli. But let's look at the game properly. Last week they lost that, and the complaint is that Victor Osimhen was not around. But this week there's not going to be Zoba Anguissa, there's not going to be Kim, there's not going to be Kimi. Jakimi in this game as well. So you look at those two players, they are very fundamental to the team. Napoli is built with everybody playing their wing very well, everybody giving above 50%. It's not a team that is really carried on the back of one player, even though the arrowhead, the compass of this arc, of this ship is Victor Osimhen, and without the compass, the ship will still run and be rudderless, but it still be on top of the water. A ship does not sink because it's lacking compass. It might not get direction anymore, but it will still be on top of water. But when you have the anchor of your midfield, Zoba Anguissa out, and then the anchor of your defense out, and then now the anchor of your attack is back, we just might say the same thing that happened last week. AC Milan might also go back and rule this game in the sense that they did score quite enough goals last week. Last week, Napoli did play well, had chances that were cleared off the line, and the combination of Stella and Victor Osimhen is one that will be very, very difficult to manage. If Lobotka come up with his game and whoever replaces Anguissa also come up with his A game, I think that they might be able to get it. But again, can they defend so well without me in such a way that they'll keep a clean sheet? Because that's very, very important. They need to win by 2 clear goals. In this game, they are 1 goal behind. There is no away goal in this competition, so it doesn't really matter. But 2 clear goals gets them through. 1 goal, this game goes into extra time, and it becomes a game of wit and who can survive the tired legs and all that. But I just think my smart money, I don't know how I'm saying this, but my smart money is on AC Milan to go through. I'm sad, Victor Osimhen, I'm sorry, but I just think they've got experience in this level, and the players that are missing, they are too much. It just might come back to bite Napoli. So my heart says Napoli, but my head as an analyst says AC Milan, because all they'll do is to really dirty the water, frustrate them, create problems. There's going to be plenty of cards. One of the things that you can guarantee today is there's going to be smoke in the stadium. The stadium will be packed full. Outside of the stadium will be held. I will give anything today, tonight, to be outside of the stadium, not even inside. Outside of that stadium, just be somewhere flying a drone and capturing the activities going on outside of the stadium. That place, the ultras, the Napolitanians, they are crazy people. I'm not crazy in a negative way, but crazy in a very good way. They are fanatical about their team. They love their team, and they, anything that makes it possible to stick it on the Milanese would work for them. Don't forget that Napoli-Milan is like the peasants versus the bourgeois. Right? Is the masses versus the government. So it's that kind of game where you say, you know what? It's like Barcelona and Real Madrid. It's Catalonia versus Spain. It's crazy, but I think the experience of AC Milan might just need this one.
I think I agree with that too. I mean, the defender Simon Kjær, came out to talk about Osimhen. He's fast, he's physical, another experienced defender we talked about.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be him and Fikayo Tomori on Victor Osimhen. Tonight I'm looking forward to that battle.
I'm
looking forward to that battle, but Osimhen is definitely missed. He's been missed for Napoli. You could tell, when you listen to Spalletti speak, you could tell that he's a player they've missed so much. I know that he was back over the weekend. Came off the bench.
Why did that ball not just go in?
It was a sweet volley. Hit the crossbar. It just couldn't go in. But they were angry at full time. I saw the way the ref ended the game. The ball was still in play, even though the 4 minutes has elapsed. But you see the anger.
They just want to get the win.
The anger and everything. But I hope they go through tonight. But like you said, I'm trying to lean towards the experience of AC Milan. But I hope they go through tonight. But with what is happening, I love the images UEFA Champions League releasing. It gives you that.
As a Nigerian, I feel really excited. So Victor Osimhen have achieve a status where he's a global brand now. He's a poster boy, and I quite understand that. Sometimes a lot of people talk down Osimhen a lot in this part of the world, but the way it's seen, when Talk Sports were talking about the match today, this is how they said it. Mackley said, "Our boy Victor Osimhen is back tonight," and I was like, "Wait a minute, this is a Scotsman." And Laura Woods, the anchor of the show, the breakfast show, was saying, our superhero, these are two white people, right? Saying that because there is high expectation that he's going to be playing in the Premier League next season. As a matter of fact, the English media will consider it a slap if Bayern Munich nick Victor Osimhen over the hands of Chelsea, Man United, or Liverpool. I don't think Liverpool will go for him anyway. Liverpool's not going to spend 100 million on any player. So it's between Chelsea and Manchester United. But they consider it a slap. But there are still people out here who would, if you mention Victor Osimhen and you put a tweet of Victor Osimhen, it's not even better than Haaland. Nobody, he doesn't have to be better than Haaland. The same way Jude Bellingham is not better than quite a lot of midfielders in football. It's not better than Martin Odegaard, but it's the talk of the town. Let him reign in his space. Don't reign on somebody else's parade just because you want to have an opinion, right? Just because you feel that there's a freedom of opinion. And a lot of people do that. I think that seeing what UEFA is doing for him, I remember when some people used to show up my DM that you are overhyping this boy. People like you are the reason why the boy will not go far in the game of football. And wait a minute. If we don't hype them, we are bad journalists. We hype them, we are bad journalists. If we don't hype them, it's because we are beefing them. We hype them, it's because they've paid us. Like, where do we really stand in this conversation? And the person that will be telling you this is against your professional ethics. It's not professional for you to be doing this. Is he the only one playing the game of football? It's like, okay, I don't understand. This person does not even know the do's and don'ts of broadcasting or journalism, but he wants to teach you the ethics and the code of the game. So this normally happens. But I'm happy that it's coming from, first off, UEFA is a very big body. It's not even just a journalistic point of view now. It's UEFA saying him as, okay, this boy is our poster boy. Even again, they don't do that for Haaland. That's a very fine one for football. And then Napoli, the way Napoli, adores him and put him there. Sometimes you want to sit back and say, can he just give Napoli one more season? I think that the fans, they really do respect and adore Victor Osimhen. And it's been long. The last time you have a Nigerian player get that kind of adulation was Daniel Dabola Mokachi in Besiktas. I think the first player to have like 4 songs for his name, So it's here and then the Bolton Wanderers fans and JJ Okocha as well too. So I think maybe we'll see what goes on. I'll be happy to see him go forward, but as an analyst, sometimes you just have to be as critically objective, and it makes you look stupid because kind of like, man, I want Napoli to go forward. But I think AC Milan will do it. Somebody, Daily Man, I say AC Milan will frustrate Napoli tonight because they know what's at stake. So if Napoli have to win, then they must play and fight tooth and nail. That's the only way out. I agree with you completely. And finally, somebody makes a comment on YouTube. I was almost beginning to think that all the people that are on YouTube watching, they are angry with us. Additionally, I must say, it's been a long time. We really had a Nigerian footballer that has shown this level of professionalism. Mikel is the last I knew had this kind of professionalism. The Siemens brand is really big.
All right, moving on the show, just as you're taking reactions, I also have my first comments from those listening here via my WhatsApp platforms. This is one from Chooks. I said, I know this is a matter of preference, but Elegate, would Bayern be a good move for Victor Osimhen? I mean, they leads me to, I read a German article over the weekend. They said he has something to prove in Germany. Remember that?
He does have something to prove.
He didn't have a good spell at Wolfsburg. And I mean, they talked about his fiancée, who's a German Cameroonian, and would like to, grow the kids closer to home or something like that. But, I was reading it on the German tabloid recently. But what do you think? Would Bayern be a decent move for Victor Osimhen? Bayern need a striker as well. Choupo-Moting is not getting younger. You don't have an out-and-out number 9.
So the question is, would Bayern be a good move for him? The actual word here, the verb here is the good, right? Absolutely. Yes, it would be a good move. He's 23 now. Victor Osimhen is 23? 24. So he goes to, and I said this yesterday on the show. He goes to Bayern. Let's say they give him 5 years contract. They're not going to do anything less than 4. It will be 5 years contract, or 4 years with 1 extra year to trigger. In that 5 years, he most likely will win the German Bundesliga minimum 4 times. He would be in the Champions League, quarterfinals, semifinals, or probably finals, and win it maybe once in that 5 years. Because Bayern plays in the finals of the Champions League every 7 years. You gotta check your history. So every 7 years lately, they play in the finals. So, and they are getting close to that 7 years already. So it might be next year, next 2 years, they'll be in the finals. They might lose it or win it, or nobody knows. So Victor Osimhen will be in that space. And like you just said, Choupo-Moting is growing older. Since they lost Lewandowski, they've not really gotten a forward man who is up there playing. And then they still got Serge Gnabry, they still got Serge Gnabry, they still got Musiala, they still got Leroy Sané, and all of these guys who can bring the ball in. The one thing that people really do not rate Victor Osimhen for, that people have not talked about that much, it might not be, so Victor Osimhen is a bit stiff. It's not as flexible as a Terry Murphy or Haaland, but he's got a magnificent leap. Even Sondre Lisa said it in the podcast that we have. And his use of the head is somewhere in the Oliver Bell, Jürgen Klinsmann, David Pleat level. A lot of people watching us right now don't even know any of this name that I'm mentioning, but it's on that level. It's on that rank and file. His ability to score with both his left and right foot is equal to any of the best as well. He might not do too many acrobatics. He did one that time, got into trouble with Victor Eghbali. Might not do that too much, but he's a guy who also thrives on criticism. Germany is not a strange place for him. Yeah. Germany is like, he's always going to be grateful for Germany because that is his entry point, his penetration point for this big colossus of a career that he's had, and he's still just starting. So I think that if Bayern offer comes and he seek my ear, ask me, bros, what do you think? And he sometimes does that, but he's a man of his own, and he's got his own independent mind. He thinks for himself, which I respect him for because that's the kind of guy that I am as well. I would say, bro, take the offer to Bayern. One thing that would be difficult, and I'm going back to the private conversation I had with him in Abuja recently. One thing that will be difficult is one of the major goals for this transfer will not be met. And that goal is a good pay. Bayern will not give him 400,000. Will not give him 300,000. Maybe 200, 250 max, right? So it's going to be a case. Any amount of money that Bayern are willing to pay the transfer,
Man
United will match it and overdo it. Chelsea, if it is a transfer money that is the Avenger, Chelsea will run it out. Now you have the Chelsea owner going into the dressing room doing the Amadus, right? They would run it out of the park, and Bayern would be like, oh, nobody. Bayern be depending on Victor Osimhen to say no. Na Bayern I want to go to. Another thing that is here is Victor Osimhen is not the one angling for the move, so it means everything stands in the hands of Aurelio De Laurentiis and the club that is buying. Laurentiis is going to always say, "I'm not selling." Well, in this case, Laurentiis is like a woman who will tell you no, but they mean yes. And so we have to come to the point where no means no, right? So much of it is not in his hand. The only thing that is in Victor Osimhen's hand is the agreement of terms. Like, okay, Chelsea comes and say, you are the beautiful bride, we're willing to pay you 400,000. And Chelsea are in a desperate situation. Chelsea is his boyhood club. He loves Chelsea. It was the greatest moment of his life when Drogba gave him his jersey. So he would want to play for that. He also idolized Odio Ighalo a lot, and he would want to follow the footsteps of Odio Ighalo. Remember, Odio Ighalo played in Italy for Udinese. Now he's played in Italy for Napoli, and he would also love to go to Manchester United. I know that for sure, that he would also want to go to Manchester United. So it's a case of, if Man United are saying we'll give you 300,000, they wouldn't want to do 350 because they're already offering Rashford 350. Rashford is a royal, he's got that OB or whatever he's got, and he's the royal boy. They want either match his pay or give him something less. Okay, so 300,000, and Chelsea comes with 400,000, and Bayern comes with 250. Bayern, I don't think Bayern will go beyond 250, or let's even say they come with 300 matching Manchester United. Osimhen is going to go to Napoli, going to go to Chelsea. That I think, right? Because even though Bayern is the best place for him to win a lot of trophies, you've got to secure the bag, okay? And then go to the place where you're going to, who says they cannot go there and win titles as well. But if you ask me, should he go to Bayern, I would jump on the offer, take it, even bite the hand of the person who's offering it off. But I'm not his agent, I'm not his manager, I'm just a friend. I'm just somebody who he thinks highly of, and I consider that a pleasure.
All right, moving on. You talked about Chelsea. They are in action tonight in the Champions League. I don't know if Victor Osimhen eventually goes to Chelsea.
I don't know. Club in disarray.
How would Chelsea do next season? I mean, of course they won't be playing Champions League.
Chelsea are not winning the league in the next 5 seasons. That's the reason why I don't want him to go to Chelsea.
And will they be back in Europe after next season? So it's kind of dicey if he goes to Chelsea, but I mean the money is there. I don't know what you make. Would they make it past Real Madrid tonight in the Champions League?
Nah.
You've seen, he talked about Todd Boehly doing the Amadus, going into the dressing room. He gave them a rallying cry. Do you think that was
it was more of a bashing than a rally cry.
For Real Madrid.
So there's been a lot of hit and miss with Todd Boehly and Eghbali, or whatever the name of the guy is. That name sounds like a Johnny
Eghbali or something.
I don't know whatever the name is, but let's focus on Todd. I think there's been a lot of hit and miss with Todd Boehly, and at this point now, we've not seen that sometimes, apart from coaches and players taking time to settle in, it's also take time for owners to settle in. And when you set a standard as high as what Roman Abramovich set up, it's almost impossible to beat. It's like trying to beat Florentino Perez. It's going to be a tall order.
Yeah.
Or trying to beat a Pep Guardiola, or trying to being the guy who come after Jose Mourinho at a club. It's always going to be difficult. What I think it's going to happen is next season, first of all, there's going to be a lot of weeding of dead woods out. But they should fix the major problem first. Fix the coaching problem. Get a proper coach. Get a proper football director. Let the structure run. And then there are 2 options for Chelsea. Try to buy result. But right now, financial fair play will not let that happen. So they're going to have like between 2 or 3 seasons where they will regrow the system from manure to seed, and seed to fruit, and fruit to tree. Okay. And then, just that process, like trusting the process of 3 to 4 seasons. Then the 4th season might just be the season where they come of age. That's one part of it. Again, you need to get a lot of takers for your players that you have right now, because they don't really have the players that are ready to play together. Once upon a time, Chelsea banked on players who, with or without a coach, they could get the job done. This time around, with a coach, they are horrible. I mean, Frank Lampard is on a serial losing streak. He's not won a single game since he came, and he's not even drawn a game since he came. And I know people said I'm the one Xing him, but it's not me. Lampard is just not good enough. I said this. People took me on social media, and so you can drag me, troll me on anything. But I think when I say something in football, I know what I am saying. I'm not trying to prove myself to anybody anymore. I've been in this game all my life, and there are just little things you need to see. Money Sinclair once told me, I don't need 10 years to know a good player. I just need his first control of the ball. When you give him that ball, the way he controls it, where he's facing, his decision making within that first 5 minutes, I am done. I know that this guy is good or this guy is going to be the bad. Then the next thing is the character. Does this player have the attitude? Does he want to win? Does he have the mentality to drive through a wall when a brick wall is standing in front of him? That's what you look at. You look at the Chelsea players. These are overpaid bunch of babies who don't even deserve to wear Fulham jersey, Nottingham Forest jersey, not the knock of Chelsea. Come on. The height that there was a time when men like Makaleli, Bala, Michael Essien, John Terry, Frank Lampard, Didier Drogba, even as good as Nicolas Anelka. Nicolas Anelka had won the double in the Premier League, had won the Champions League. He came to Chelsea, he was a struggler. And Fernando Torres had scored over 100 goals in his career. He came to Chelsea, was a struggler. Now that same Chelsea have people like Carragher, Pulisic, who should be playing catch in America. And now the guys who leave the team in Chelsea, Mason Mount, playing in a team that once have generals like Deco, Ballack, Frank Lampard, Makalele, and Michael Essien. Come on, you already know where the cookies have crumbled a long time ago. They're just holding the pieces together. So Chelsea need to reinvent this team first, put this team together. That's why I'm not going to feel comfortable with Victor Osimhen going to that team, because the problem is they win 2-3 games and then they lose one game scandalous. Well, Victor Osimhen is not doing well. He's not fitting in. No, that's what's going to happen. And I don't want to see Victor Osimhen go through that, because he's risen. And it's not Easter resurrection, but it's taking flight, and his flight should be sustained over a long period of time, not coming down again and then struggling. Also, why I think a Bayern will be a good fit for him. The reason why I think a Bayern will be a good fit for him: win the league in Italy, get to whatever stage you can get to. If they survive tonight, get to the semi-finals, or probably show up in the finals of the Champions League and lose to Man City or Real Madrid, whoever you're going to lose to, and then go to Bayern, win as many titles to your name. And then when you're coming to England, you're coming majestically as a king. Right now, it does look like if you move from Napoli to England, it's still untested. They won the league, like Leicester winning the league in England in 2016. They won the league in a season where everybody was struggling. They don't really have it. This is where you will come and test it. No, go to Germany and do some 3-4 years, win as many as you can win. Hopefully, you win the Champions League. And then when you leave there, you come back you come to the Premier League as a general, not somebody who is still trying to prove himself, but rather you come as a special one, as one who's coming to help the people in England. And that's my own thinking about it anyway.
All right, moving on the show, let's talk about this one now. I think Emeka already has my notes in his locker. He said you guys should please talk about the decline of Wilfred Ndidi. I mean, I talked about pre-show that we should talk about Wilfred Ndidi. Ndidi has been, he's a shadow of himself. He's giving possessions away. I think, I remember the game against Aston Villa where he was zero that led to goal from Bertrand Traoré. Indeed, against Manchester City this weekend as well, it was no. We know it's Manchester City, but we've seen it against this Manchester City.
Community Shield, for instance.
Community Shield and some big games.
He had a lockdown.
Indeed, it was, rubbing shoulders with the best midfielders in the Premier League. The Fabinho's, quite a number of the top midfielders and all that in terms of work ethic, tackles, interceptions, and all that. But he's not doing all that at the moment. He's not having most touches in games. He's not getting to that high number of tackles, that high number of interceptions. The decline is visible for everyone to see. Even when it comes to the Super Eagles, a lot of fans are not even satisfied with his performances and all that. What's the problem? They got a new manager. It was his first game. That's the biggest tax you could have asked for a new manager going to the Etihad against this flying City side and getting the result. They lost that game by 3-1. Thumbs up to Kelechi Iheanacho, who came off the bench to score that consolation goal for Leicester City. But Wilfred Ndidi, where does he go from here? I know that the form of the team can rub off on a player. Yeah, Leicester City, they're in a bad run, fighting relegation. But aside that, Wilfred Ndidi is not, should I say, putting his body on the line again. He's not going into those tackles. He's not breaking up play as he used to for Leicester City. What next for Wilfred Ndidi? What can you say about this slow decline?
I think that Leicester will get relegated and they will struggle to be back if they keep these players, because player like Maddison will leave. Yuri Teleman's contract is up, he will leave. Jamie Vardy, the big elephant in the room, will finally retire or probably be getting pension money. You know how the soup becomes too sweet. You don't want to leave the kitchen or you don't want to leave the dining table. Even if you're getting bloated, you're getting overfed, you still want to be there. That's what's happening with people like that. For Wilfred Ndidi, I'm going to say here that, and people say I love him too much, I never see anything wrong with him. Good players, quality players don't just go bad. But the thing with injury, and I keep saying this because I've also been a victim of injury, football is played both with ability and instinct, right? But when you go out too frequently, go in and out injured, you begin to play with fear. Football and fear don't work together. They don't live on the same planet. Once you start playing with fear and trepidation, like, oh, I want to be careful. I want to avoid this. I don't know if I stretch too much now, I will snap. Or I don't know if I get into this, 50-50 ball now, I'm going to go out again. And I'm trying to, and my contract is running out. I want my contract renewed. I also want another club to sign me. And all those things could just make you, football is a game of margin. And I borrowed that from Coach Olumide. Football is a game of margin. But half an inch too late, you're very late. Too much, it's a foul. So the margins are no longer right because you're not sharp enough. You're not ready mentally, because it is what you have mentally that translates physically. Like when we used to talk about coming into the studio to present sports. If you do not research properly, if you don't have enough back end on your note, you would spend 1 hour talking only 5 minutes. And I've seen that happen a lot in my time on radio. So it comes with a lot of preparation. The same thing with football. If you do not have, football is like prayer. I always say that football is like prayer. If you're a church boy, if you're a church person, you know that if you're not prepared, if you're not word-based, like you're not really word-based, like you're not deeply steeped in the word, you cannot pray more than 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, now, after 2 minutes, you start repeating yourself. You'll be saying, Father Lord, oh God, Father Lord. Yeah, because that's how football is. You start roaming in circle, praying amazed, foolishly talking. You think you're praying, that's when you start faking tongues. But if you really are steeped in the word, you now know how to apply the word, you now know how to promulgate decrees, pronounce laws, enact, laws, things that you take things in the spirit and bring them to the physical. The same thing with football. Every time a pass is coming to you, your brain, that move, I've played that in your brain, 10 different moves. You know what you want to do. But the thing about being fit is, if you're not physically fit, you're always out injured. That connection between your brain, there's an animation, there's a cartoon a picture that I saw on the internet, where the brain is a socket and the tongue is a plug.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen that thing. That when you're
it's a WhatsApp sticker.
Yeah, good. So when I saw that thing, I was like, oh, this thing should be done to the body. That's why in boxing, you notice that they don't punch the leg, they don't kick the leg, but somebody they punch the head, the leg lose control.
Yeah.
It's because the plug disconnects. So that's the same thing that happened with injury. You start thinking first, before you just think of the move, you start thinking, what if I get injured? And so in your peripheral vision, you're seeing the injury, and then the ball is coming. Now the ball is coming too fast. You're no longer seeing the teammate, the person you're supposed to pass to, and all that. Those little things that happen in your head affect what eventually your leg interprets. So you turn over possession, you control the ball poorly, you pass the ball badly, you make a wrong tackle. Everything doesn't go in sync anymore because there's lack of confidence and fitness, that have kept you going consistently. I'm not making excuses for him, but there is evidence of large number of injuries that Ndidi has had. So we're not going to say that Wilfred Ndidi that we used to know that was a roadblock, that was a toll gate to opposition, have now become a fluke. No, it's just that the amount of injuries that he's had, not too many people have the ability. That's why I respect Victor Osimhen so much, to get the kind of injury where your eyeball pop out of the socket, and you come back and you're heading ball and you're attacking balls the way you do. Come on, not too many people have that fighting spirit that God. And I mean, Wilfred is a private gentleman, so these things happen. I'm willing to see him move from Leicester to another club and have a fresh start. Would we ever see that Wilfred that we used to see?
Yeah.
I doubt. I don't think.
That's where I'm heading to.
I don't
going
think-
to get back to
No, I don't think we would ever get that guy anymore. I think that guy is a yesterday's man. That's why I feel for Jose Peseiro. I wrote something on somebody's Facebook page yesterday that this generation of Super Eagles might not win the AFCON. They might not even play in the finals. Apart from the fact that they are not friends, which, we don't have to be friends to work together, but friendship makes the work easier. In the words of Babafemi Raji, I heard that first from Babafemi Raji, and I agree with it. And the thing about them not being friends is that it makes the job harder, and they don't have the will to break through the hard work. They're not Bugs Bunny, so they cannot break through a brick wall. It's going to be difficult. We might see this. We've had the most talented pool of players in one era in the attack, but not a complete team anyway. We don't have this midfield cannot match the previous midfield. This defense cannot match the previous defense. But at the end of the day, because they are not friends, we can't harmonize them together to make any sense. These guys will go and see, they might even fail to qualify. Thank God now the qualification gives us more. If we're still hanging on 5 tickets, I can bet you anything that Nigerian Super Eagles will not qualify for the next World Cup because we don't have what it takes. But thank God it's 9 now. We will just go and play other Cape Verde and then Satoma and Principal, and then go to the World Cup and get knocked out in the group stage again.
So maybe Wilfred indeed could have made a big move when it was at the top of
when he had that time, but he was going to school. I wouldn't blame him as well. He was going to school. You wouldn't. I mean, you want to secure your future. That's a very, very important part of the game. If you don't secure that part, and don't forget that it's his wife that is managing him. You don't want the wife to say, "I put you in a place." We had a deal in a place where you could secure the future. There is not a footballer that has ever retired and they say they've trained their children to university. So it's after, and you don't want to retire and then after your children to cut their coat according to their size. When you were living life, when you're playing, now we won't cut coat according to size. We'll still live that large life.
All right. Finally on the show, our last talking point. Emeka, I hope that answers your question on Wilfred Ndidi. I already had that to discuss on the show. Let's talk about the Super Falcons now as we wrap up on the show. Two
girls
games.
Girls are doing well.
Yeah.
2 or 3. Haiti.
Yeah, Haiti and New Zealand. The last 2 friendly games.
Okay.
Yeah. These are 2 teams that will participate in the Women's World Cup in July in Australia and New Zealand. And I mean, convincing way against Haiti. Haiti, they had a good run of form. Maybe they're one of the surprise teams.
Yeah, coming into the tournament
and all that. So for the Super Falcons to get one over them, it was brilliant against New Zealand as well. Got a win as well. And Desire Okonadozie back in the squad.
One girl is back.
Got on the score sheet in that game against New Zealand. You could see
companionship.
The whole talk of rift between the players, maybe Desire, Zizat, especially those 3 players. They were not close enough and all that. But you could see that desire from them to, let's bury the hatchet, let's come together, we have a common goal and all that. It's so nice.
I wish the Super Eagles can do that.
But heading into the World Cup, a lot of people have called for the head of Randy Waldron. He's not good enough. He's a university coach. Yes, he manages a university team.
Nigerians not get bad match.
But I'm beginning to see a few that are maybe changing that stance heading into the World Cup. It's normal when you see teams doing well, you tend to change your view sometimes, even though some are still adamant that is not the right man for the job and all that. But heading into the World Cup, looking at the Super Falcons, what they've done now, how confident are you going into the World Cup? Remember they are grouped against Canada, one of the toughest teams, New Zealand as well, Australia, and these are teams that when it comes to women football, these are solid and all that. But what's your take on the Super Falcons heading into the World Cup?
Well, Randy Waldron might be a university coach, but you have to check the history of that university and the result that they've turned up to. So if you coach a women's team in the university in America, you deserve some respect. And coaching there also, I mean, Randy Waldron, I'm not his fan, but I was aware of how he got the job. When he got the job, that job was on the table for Magbemi to reclaim, and pride and arrogance ended that opportunity. And then she was even called up to come be an assistant. Yes, I was there. It's not like this is backyard talk. And she turned it down. When they finally announced the team and the setup, and then she came back and said she wants the assistant job. Obviously, probably she was eyeing a job somewhere that she didn't get. And that became a problem. And I'm one of those who was advocating that Anne Chejene is qualified, have all the qualification, best qualification amongst all the coach ex-players. Give her a chance to coach. What does she need to do that job? But then it's the same thing I said about Oluka Bade for a very long time. Now he's gotten the under 17. I saw him in Abuja the last time I was in Abuja, and I told him, this thing you'll be shouting, science of the game, science of the game. If you're not winning World Cup, the problem for you, and I look at his team is very good. I'm saying this, that we can blame Randy all we like, but the aim and purpose of bringing Randy was achieved. The Super Eagles under the previous coaches, they don't have the clout to pull the kind of friendly matches that Randy Wardrum have helped us to pull. So
Super Falcons.
Super Falcons. I'm sorry. The Super Falcons under Randy Wardrum have been able to pull friendly matches. We played USA, Canada, times that number now, and some of these big games in places where if you had Florence Omagbomi there, it would not even be bold enough to call the leadership of the FA to say this. Rather, they'll be crying in the press, they've not paid me. We won't be talking of friendly matches. We'll be talking of Go Project, training in Go Project, saying in Abuja, play with some academic teams. So for that, I think Randy had done very well. If only he had won the last AFCON. But then there's so much crisis in the team. The team have not really been together. He came in the storm. No, I'm not going to blame him 100% there. Having said that, is it like the ultimate coach? Is it better than all the women coaches? No. You see, the thing about coaching in Nigeria is not really about qualification. There's not a coach that have come to Nigeria and succeeded that have excellent qualification. Nigeria is a place where you need to understand the politics more than the tactics, because the politics takes you further than the tactics. There are coaches who have come here with great, excellent CV and tactics. Felipe Troze is one of them, qualified with first coach in the history of Nigeria to qualify for any tournament with games to spare, but he was kicked out. Another tactical mastermind, Bofri Joe, won us Olympic gold. We kicked him out. Came here, took us to the finals of the African Cup of Nations in 2000, when Nigeria played the best football that I've ever seen in terms of tactical changes and the rest of them. But guess what? It was kicked out. So Nigeria is not a country where the tactics is the most important thing. Know how to work the politics of Nigeria. Know how to bamboozle them with some BB grammar and attend events that you have no business attending, do photo op with some hungry journalists and relate to some people, then you are the greatest guy on the planet Earth. Unfortunately, people like this guy come from America. It doesn't see the need for that. He's not interested. He's got a job to do. He's going to do it. If the players are not ready to unite, to buckle up together and get the job done, now their business. Because this guy comes from a country where, in cases like this, everything is always efficient. And then player power comes to play. You think the US is winning because of just their coach? Megan Rapinoe is louder and stronger than even the coach. She speaks. And just the same way the other people who were there before her. It's always like that. So the super players in our team should not come to the team and become in Europe on social media, they're lions, and when they come to play, they are not playing like Wogeku. It's always going to be a problem. I think that going to the World Cup, now coming to your question, going to the World Cup, I think Nigeria Falcons can beat Australia. We can beat New Zealand. We've shown it in the friendly, but friendlies are not competition.
They got Australia, Canada, and Republic of Ireland.
Australia. We can beat Australia. Sorry, we can beat Republic of Ireland. We will battle Canada on the day, because we played it friendly with them. We lost 2-0 and then we drew 2-2. So this is a team that on their day can beat us. On our day we can beat them. If it can go either way, so we can get a draw against them. But I think that Nigeria will qualify for that group. What happens thereafter? It's a matter of margin. I don't think I'm going to sit here and say, oh, Nigeria is going to win the World Cup. But I think we're going to have a good World Cup in July. That's what I've got to say. And there's a whole lot of comments on YouTube. Unfortunately, because we're out of time, I'm not going to be able to read them, because the Nigerian Players GPS show is coming. It took you guys a whole lot of time to get in on the groove, and by the time you got in, time had gone. I'd wanted to use the first 30 minutes to deal with all this comment, but I'm sorry. Something that we will do tomorrow. I'll be here again before I go to school. Get it done. I'm sure we'll do 1 hour of the show before I go to school tomorrow. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here with us. And for those of you who have not subscribed, please do want to subscribe. Yesterday, we did say a proper thank you to you, Adijala Ofoma, for the super chat that you gave to us. Thank you so much. That's your money. It's not our bet, right? The fact that you were kind enough to give it to us after paying for membership, it's great. It's important to us. It means a whole lot. It's they say little drop of water makes a mighty ocean. If this drop of water keep coming consistently, we will get to where we're planning to get to. And we're grateful to Michael Leta, Jeremiah Hirim, Dijala Ufoma, and every other person who's dropped in a comment. I'm not taking your comment for granted. I'm not disregarding your comment. It's just that there is no time again. And every one of you on Instagram, I think I read some of yours. as well. Daily Mena, thank you for your consistency today, and for every other person who's joining on the show. Please, if you've not subscribed to our YouTube channel, do want to subscribe and patch. Be our ambassadors and talk about our content, what we do here, and bring us more subscribers. Having said that, thank you to those of you who commented on my interview with Darren Lewis, put together by our producer Emmanuel Kalajaye, who's also producer here today. Thank you very much for all that you guys do for us. Now it's gone from to be or not to be. We used to be in a place where we think, okay, let's just try our luck and see whether this thing will work. We are not in this for the rest of our life. We're not in it for the long haul, and we need all of you guys collectively. The higher you go, the harder it becomes. Leadership, that's what leadership is all about. Now the expectations from people are high. Somebody will send me a message that I should interview Jose Mourinho. I'm trying. It's just that these people, their management will tell you, you don't have 1 million subscribers.
Are you still on Peter Drury?
I'm not giving up on Peter Drury. At least they used to say, Peter Drury people used to say, we'll get back to you. We're trying to figure you into it. And then they did a clear analytics of mine. They said, okay, my works are good. They've seen Martin Tyler, seen all these ones, but my numbers are not good. And then the comment, when they look at Martin Tyler, they don't see up to 1,000 comments, they feel like that's not what they want. So they also have a standard of what they want. I really want to do a Peter Drury interview. I really want to do that interview. And I think that I'm not going to go back for now. I'm going to wait. If I get, say, maybe 50,000 subscribers, I'll go back. And, probably later this year or next year, the studio in the UK will be set up. And then I'll be able to now go to UK and I'll look for him wherever I can and go see him. Because if I go to UK, I'll go see David Dean, I'll go see Martin Tyler, see a few of these guys, and probably I'll see Peter Drury, and a one-on-one conversation will make it easy. That's the reason why I'm, pitching through to the UK media people, so that we'll do a lot of collaboration. Eventually, when I need Peter Drury, it just might work. But the numbers, I agree that the numbers are not there yet. Peter Drury is like at the very top of his game right now, and it's going to be hard for me to just, want to have him on my place. So it's a case of me knowing my place right now, and when I get the numbers that I need to get, I'll go back again.
All right, with that is a wrap on the show. Quite a lot to talk about on the Niger Players GPA show. It's Champions League night. Will Osimhen be the hero for Napoli? He's also eyeing the cup. He's also eyeing the African Player of the Year award. I mean, who
I think it's one that one.
Hakimi is the favorite man on earth now. So Siri says is in the record books for Cremonese.
All the women voting will not vote for Hakimi.
And Chidera Eduke is back in training. So the full story of all this and more on the Niger Players GPA show coming up next. Stick around.
No shock too much. No shaking. We did. Yeah. No shaking.
You're listening to Elegbete TV and Radio.